Hey guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are having a good day. It is Wednesday, October 6th, and yesterday was really busy. We had a lot of different things to talk about with regards to the Gabby Petito story, and today it was kind of one of those quieter days. There was some activity at Carlton Reserve. There was a lot more police at the reserve. There was some drones up in the sky. They were bringing and removing water. There was at one point some thought that maybe they would have found something, or they were on the heels of finding something because they had blocked off the park for a minute and all these unmarked cars were going in. It turned out to be a big nothing burger. And so we all kind of like were holding our breath thinking maybe today was going to be the day that we find him. And then the rumors started that they had found Brian and that he was no longer here with us, and that was gone. That rumor was not, it went to bed very quickly. They said that they did not find anything today. And so the internet's going all directions, finding conspiracies. There was a TikToker who decided that a garden video of them gardening and Roberta pulling a weed out of her garden was Brian lifting a hand out of the garden, because then there was this whole discussion on Twitter that they built a bunker underneath this flower bed, and that just didn't happen. So now here we are. It's Wednesday night and Stephen Bertolino is back with more. Yesterday, Stephen told us that they couldn't remember the exact date that Mr. Brian Laundrie disappeared. Well, went on the hike, let's just say. They had for weeks been saying that he left on the 14th, and then suddenly and abruptly they decided that he had left on the 14th or 13th, the day before, and then they waited 4 days instead of 3 days to report him missing. Well, it seems like a report that was made by a abandoned car police report was making the rounds, and Northport Police Department basically released a heavily redacted police report of an abandoned Mustang, the Mustang that Mr. Brian Laundrie allegedly drove to the reserve, and it had been abandoned not at the Carlton Reserve, but just outside at Micah Hatchie Environmental Park, and it butts up to Micah State Park and all these different preserves. It's effectively like 56,000 acres, 85 square miles, you guys. It's a huge area. And there's camping and trails and swamps and alligators and snakes and all of that. And so basically he abandoned his car there, and that ticket was issued on the 14th. So the abandoned car, it could have been 24 hours, it could have been 48 hours. They don't really say. They are now saying that they left on a Monday, not on a Tuesday. So with that, the timeline has changed in terms of when he actually left. And now apparently that was yesterday's bomb. Today's bomb is that the Laundries, Christopher Laundrie, was apparently asked by police to participate in the search for Brian, and he's agreed. So after weeks of getting all kinds of pushback and all kinds of hate online by everyone, and with a lot of skepticism directed at this family, Christopher Laundrie, through his attorney, says that he is going to help police try to find his son. So here's what Newsday, which happens to be it's a Long Island newspaper. They did an interview with Stephen Bertolino, my favorite Long Island attorney. Get a new attorney, allegedly. So this is what Stephen told Nicole Fuller, who is with Newsday. Northport police informed me that they were focusing on certain areas of the preserve today, and they were actually hoping that Mr. Laundrie could join them on that search. Mr. Laundrie has consented, and we are waiting for them to call from Northport Police Department to make that happen. Now, Brian Enton actually got a similar statement, just so you know, and this is what he was told by the Laundrie's attorney. He says, Mr. Bertolino says Chris Laundrie was asked to help police in search of the reserve today. Chris Laundrie was asked to assist law enforcement in their search for Brian at the preserve today, since the preserve has been closed. They said, to the public, Chris has not been able to look for Brian in the only place that Chris and Roberta believe Brian may be. Unfortunately, Northport Police had to postpone Chris's involvement, but Chris and Roberta are hopeful there will be another opportunity to assist. So that was his statement to Brian Etten. News Daddy, he's saying it, so Newsday gets something similar. But Newsday further expanded on some of that. I guess they're trying to focus on a very specific area in the preserve, and they thought it might be better if Chris wasn't there. I don't know if they thought they might find something that was not favorable, like say they would have like stumbled upon him not being alive. And this is what he said. Bertolino said that police wanted to narrow down some of the places in the park that Brian had liked to visit in the past. I think they're just narrowing down their search based upon inability to locate Brian on the previous day. So it sounds like they're kind of running out of options and they're looking for help from his parents. Like, where are some places that Brian liked to hike? Where might he be? And this is also, Josh Taylor confirmed this to Newsday, and he said Mr. Laundrie was not a part of today's search. But he also then directed more questions to the FBI and declined to comment any further. And this is what Bertolino said about being excited. So he said, Chris is excited to help in the search for his son, adding that the father searched the reserve for Brian on the night of September 13th when his son didn't return home from a hike there. The following day, it says Bertolino said both Brian Laundrie's parents spent 4 to 5 hours hiking through the reserve in an attempt to locate their son. And they said he was excited to go because he hasn't been allowed to go in the park. The park has been closed to the public, and it's the only place they would look for Brian is in this park. They say that Bertolino, they're distraught that Brian hasn't been found. It says they are so distraught. They are distraught and they're upset, and they're hopeful that their son will be found. And we will deal with what needs to be dealt with at that time in terms of like the charges that he's facing. In terms of like why they haven't been able to help, because that's like the only place that they think that Brian is. They wouldn't look anywhere else. The park has been closed. They haven't been allowed to help. Now they're getting allowed to help. And there's also been a lot of criticism about why they haven't made a public plea, why they haven't asked for help from anyone. And this is what their explanation is for this. They say the parents don't believe that he's watching the news in any way, shape, or form. They believe that he's in the preserve or some other type of wilderness area if he has left the preserve. They say that so putting out a plea publicly and getting scrutiny for it is not necessarily in their best interest. And he said that he disputed this narrative that Laundrie is a survivalist who could hide out in the wilderness for an extended period. He said that, I don't know who put the survivalist term out there. He's a hiker, he's a camper, and I don't think it goes beyond that. So here's what they're saying. Chris is so excited to help find his son. He's finally gonna be able to help. Makes me wonder, like, why they haven't asked by this before. Like, I don't know if they thought that they were going to find him earlier, or if they're running out of ideas, so now they have to bring in the dad. And then this question about like they don't think their son is watching the news. Brian is still alive, you guys, and every day that goes by the way, I have this feeling that he's closer and closer to not being alive. But if he's still alive, do you really think he has no idea what's going on? Like, could you imagine if he was out somewhere in the middle of the wilderness and he literally had no clue that the whole world was looking for him, and he had no idea that this story was as big as it is, and it's like on every major outlet, everyone's talking about it, millions of people are invested in this story. Do you think and do you believe that the reason why they're not saying anything is because they don't think that he's watching the news? That kind of seems like at least like, so they're not going to do it because they don't think he's watching the news. What if there's that off chance that he is? See, in my perspective, I would do it on the off chance that it is. They're saying that it wouldn't help the public to get scrutinized over it. I feel like it would help their public perception, in my opinion, if they even showed an iota of emotion, but they don't. We don't know anything about them. They are silent and acting like they don't care about their son, and all we hear from their attorney is they're distraught, but then their stories keep changing, and there's all these, their daughters saying they don't know if mom and dad are involved, and they don't know if mom and dad helped Brian in any sort of way, and mom and dad need to come clean, and now they're changing their stories. I just have a lot of questions, and if Chris can help find his son, great, but it seems like too little too late. And I don't understand why, if the police are just asking now, like, why now? Why now? Why after 3 weeks are you just asking now? Like, why didn't you ask the parents right away? Why weren't the parents on the ground with you right away? I would have, that aspect of it makes no sense to me. But what do I know? Maybe they're looking at the parents as suspects. Who knows? Maybe they don't want the parents around. I don't know. And that means if Chris is going to go out there and look for his son, he understands that if his son is found alive, he's going to jail, because the detention is non-bail. Like, they'll serve the warrant if he's found alive, and he will be arrested the minute he's found, if he's found alive. If he's not found alive, that's like a parent's worst nightmare. And nobody should go through that at all. So, and right as I was finishing this video, a statement was made by Northport Police Department, which said that Josh Taylor, the PIO, stated, "In no world would we be the agency asking for the family to help in a search in an FBI-led investigation." So apparently they're saying, Northport is saying, we never asked for Christopher's help. We would not be the agency to ask Christopher for help. So was there a misunderstanding? Was it the FBI that asked Christopher? Was it Northport that just doesn't want them to know that they asked him? This is confusing. I'll be interested to see if we actually see a human side of them. I'm still very, very critical here and very reluctant to believe just about anything out of Stephen Bertolino's mouth, but he's told multiple people now, so tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.